Welcome to the Career Intelligence Podcast. I'm your host, Meredith Dinitz, career coach and founder of Your Career Happiness Professional Coaching. My guest today is Valerie Workman. She is the Chief Human Resources Officer at Empower Pharmacy, a licensed attorney, and the author of Quantum Progression. Her career spans Wall Street, Capitol Hill, KPMG, Tesla, and Handshake. At Tesla, she helped scale the workforce from 50,000 to 100,000 employees. Today at Empower, she is building the company's first AI-powered HR team with the belief that AI should power people, not replace them. What I enjoyed most about this conversation is that Valerie challenges many of the assumptions people have about career growth. We talk about why careers aren't always linear, why skills matter more than titles, what hiring managers are really looking for, and how professionals can stay relevant as AI continues to transform the workplace. If you've ever felt stuck, questioned your next step, or wondered how to continue growing in a rapidly changing world of work, this conversation is for you. Now let's get started. Valerie, so good to see you this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited. It's my favorite topic, Meredith.
Well, before we jump in, I'd love for you to just take a moment and introduce yourself, talk about your journey, about
Sure.
you.
It's a little long-winded, so bear with me. I started my career in compliance, the major bulk of my career. I joined Tesla as head of compliance there, and I was there for about 2 years, had a really cool job leading the comprehensive global compliance for the company. Then I became the executive sponsor for Black at Tesla about 2 years in. Started hearing about things that the employees thought we could be doing better, not just for Black employees, but all employees globally. And I started to speak up at the company, hey, we could be doing this better, we could be doing that better. And that rose to the CEO. And I had a meeting with the CEO, thought I was going to be fired. And he said, I hear you think there are things we should be doing better at Tesla. What are they? And I told him, and he says, okay, you want to lead HR? And that was not a question. That more like a directive framed as a question. And when you have that opportunity, when you speak up and you say something, and so I took the reins, and that was December 2019. And so I'm leading 700 people at Tesla, HR, DEI, recruiting, workplace, et cetera. And I was doing that for another 2 years, and we did some great work. And then I fell in love with HR. And when I left Tesla, I went to Handshake. I was the chief talent engagement officer there, working to help Fortune 500s and mid-sized companies understand their early career strategies, talent strategies, particularly with the AI focus. And now I'm at Empower, CHRO, and I'm leading all of our HR, including building the first AI-powered HR team, building our HR tech stack, doing HR AI transformation with the focus on AI is only as good as the people leading it and running it. We are a patient-first organization. We are a people-first organization. So I believe in AI-powered people, not AI as a replacement of people. And so that's my very long-winded introduction of myself and my
Well,
career.
I love your background, especially the AI stuff, which I definitely want to touch on later. But all of the moves that you have made are so great. And I think a lot of people listening put pressure on themselves to have that perfectly mapped out career plan, right? They feel like they're
Yeah.
supposed to know exactly what's next. I'm wondering, when you look at your own journey, what would you say to someone who feels that way?
Yeah, I think the best thing I did was discover very early that there's no such thing as a ladder. So I dispelled the whole process of ladder very early on in my career, and I focused on what do I want to do next and what skills do I want to build. And so there's no map that's right. There's no plan that's right. There's no structure that's right. The worst thing you can do is listen to people who think you should. If the word should comes into any advice that you're given is likely wrong. So I never subscribed to there being a ladder. Best thing that I ever did for my career.
Why do you think so many people get stuck waiting for that certainty?
I think, quite frankly, confidence. A lot of people are not confident in their ability to flex into something new, something different, and comfort zone is a major limiter to your career. Most people want to do what's comfortable, what feels natural, what feels easy. And so they feel constrained by their title or by their major, what they did 20 years ago. And that concerned about doing something different and might I not be able to do it well. Another philosophy that served me well is excellence scales. Excellence is transferable. So if you're great at one thing, it is highly likely that you'll be great at another thing because the core of excellence flexes across all careers and across all strategies. That's my philosophy.
No, it's a great one. A lot of professionals that I work with, they feel like they've done everything they were told would help them advance, yet they still feel stuck. When you think about high performers who feel stuck, what do you think is actually holding them back?
I had a great conversation yesterday with someone. She's a superpower. She's on 4 boards and she's had just a mega CTO and CIO career. And we literally had this conversation yesterday. And it's that most of the advice that we are given, even by well-intentioned and highly seasoned professionals, is wrong. And so accepting or at least assessing that what you are being told might not be correct is the first step. So if you're a high performer and you know you can be doing more, you know you haven't reached your peak yet, you know there's something out there that's better for you, and yet you're getting the same guidance, the same recommendations, the same strategic direction by people you respect, you need to take a step back and say, you know what, I respect this person, but that person might not be right. It's a very important conversation to have with yourself.
So, what steps can they be taken?
I think the most important thing, and this scales no matter whether you are right out of college or you're in the C-suite, you've got to do a skills inventory. You've got to start with a blank page, a blank screen, and say, what are all the things that I have done across the scope of my career and just data dump. Go back from what you did in college until the present day and just data dump projects, things you're proud of, skills that you've learned, things that you've done, successes that you've had. I'm going to throw in the word here because I have to use it with your favorite AI chat tool. Put that all in and say, based on what I have provided, give me some suggestions on the next step for my career. And you will be amazed at the things that you discovered. I'll give you an example. One of my sons is a computer science graduate, and we took a step and said, look at your resume and your background and what other things you could be doing. And I'm not going to give it away yet, but I will say it came up with a completely different career track for him and in a field where there are not thousands of applicants. There were like 10 and 20. Amazing career suggestion. Never would have happened if we had not started with that blank screen and says, what else can he do? So it works. And it works no matter where you are in your career, whether you're right out of college or you're in a C-suite. Skills inventory, number one thing you should do when you get off this podcast.
I definitely agree with that. I think people need to take that step back. And I know when you and I spoke earlier, you were saying, forget the titles, forget the teams, focus on the skills, which I think is so important, especially with what you just said, because I feel
Yeah.
like people feel like their identity is so tied to their title and their function.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's so important right now? People get so
Well,
stuck.
one of the things that gets you stuck is this voice you say to yourself, I've worked so hard to get to where I am. I've put so much time into where I am right now. I put so much time to the company and time into this role, time into my education. This must be the thing I should be doing. And therefore, I'm not doing something right if I'm not leveraging that. And it's got to be okay to say, I'm willing to take a step back. I'm willing to take a lateral move. I'm willing to do something completely different. I'm willing to consider a completely new career track. That's the only way to get unstuck. One of my best career moves that I ever made, I was vice president in New Jersey, and I was vice president of franchise compliance, had a really great role, but I thought at the time I wanted to be either a general counsel or a chief legal officer. And I knew that in that function, I was lacking transactional experience. To be a lawyer, in my opinion, to be a really great general counsel or great chief legal officer, you've got no transaction. I had no transactional experience. And so I started looking for roles that would give me that transactional experience. And I found a great job in Atlanta, and it was a senior counsel role. So I went from vice president to senior counsel. Now to the world, optically, when I see the world, family, friends, colleagues, Valerie has taken a demotion. What's wrong with her career? What happened to her? So the optics were terrible, right? But when I
Mhm.
took that job in Atlanta, got amazing transactional expertise. I was doing $1 million deals with Cinnabon and Walmart and Kroger's. And in that year and a half, I got everything I needed. I was doing trademark compliance. It was phenomenal. And then in 18 months, I was promoted back to vice president. So that willingness to take that lateral move, that take that step back and to not be concerned about, we're very concerned about optics, right? What are people going to say? What are people going to
Mhm.
think? So being comfortable with the optics not looking great is really important. It's critical.
I agree with you. I will tell you, in my 14 years as a recruiter, I had so many candidates that were so hung up on the title, the title. And I always used to tell them, look, it's more about what you're doing, the experience, it's what you can bring moving forward that's going to help you continue growing. So I think that's a
Exactly.
great advice.
One thing I have to point out, because I always get hit with this counter, I work so hard to get to the salary. And I said, salary and title are not the same thing. When I took
Mhm.
that air quote demotion from VP to senior counsel, moving to Atlanta, my salary was better because the cost ratio to my expenses was better. So moving to a demotion or laterally does not necessarily mean taking less money. So people shouldn't equate that I mean less money. So get the dollars, that's very important. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the same title or even same level in the company. That's why you have to be flexible. If you're in a small company, move to a larger one. There's a whole matrix of decisions that can enable you to increase your skills and not have to lose anything in terms of your total comp.
Are there certain skills that you feel people consistently underestimate in themselves?
That's a great question. Underestimate in themselves. I think the ability to do something new and different. And that first step, I'm going to date myself now. One of my favorite holiday shows is The Year Without a Santa Claus. There's a song called Put One Foot in Front of the Other. And it was all about the hardest thing is the first step. And people, and I'm going to say it, women more than men, because that's empirically correct,
Mhm.
question whether or not they can do that new thing, they can do that next thing. And so they don't even ask, they don't even inquire, they don't reach out to someone in the company and say, hey, I'm thinking about something different. The fear, they think they can't. And what also tends to happen a lot with, and I'm going to say it again, the women that I've managed over the course of my career, when I have suggested new roles, new jobs, promotions, only women have ever turned me down. A
Mm.
man has never said no. Many times women have said, I don't know if I can do it. I'm not sure. Are you sure? And I'm thinking, how do I know you're excellent and awesome? And you don't know you're excellent and awesome. So you almost have to take a step back and fix that thing,
Yeah.
that issue of lack of confidence before you can talk to the person further about moving forward. So confidence is a career crusher. It derails more careers than anything else. Self-confidence, self-worth, and yes, I'll say it also, imposter syndrome. It's real, and I've had many debates with
Yes.
many people about whether or not it exists. You cannot tell me something does not exist when I had it. So I know imposter syndrome is real, and it crushes careers before they
Yeah.
even really take off.
I agree with you on that one. It's a hard one to get over, but it
Yeah,
can be done. Just
it
takes a little
can
bit
be
of
done.
time.
That's right.
I appreciate you sharing that because I think it's a great point. I know you've talked about hiring people into roles that looked completely unrelated to what they were doing
Mhm.
before because their skills align. So,
Yeah.
what do hiring leaders see that candidates often miss?
Oh, I love that question. I think it's a result of the pandemic when there was such a stress to find people to fill roles and such a stress for recruiters to get roles filled, the understanding was almost overnight and almost empirically across every industry. We got to start looking at skills. We can no longer constrain ourselves to you've done this for 2 years and therefore you have 2 years experience in this and therefore you can do that thing. That went out the window because there was such a race for talent that we began to all understand it's skills based. What can they do? What can they demonstrate? So recruiters understand this. This is why it's so important not to limit yourself because recruiters already know. We understand that we only care about who can do the work and what can get done. And if you can demonstrate that you did a thing and you were successful at a thing, we don't care what your title is or how many years you've done it. Recruiters get it, which is all the more reason why you need to create that skills based resume, change your LinkedIn if you're feeling stuck, change your about section. all project-based, skills-based work rather than focusing on your title, because recruiters definitely get it. When they do those searches on LinkedIn and when recruiters are trying to find you, they are not looking for title. They're
I was just at an orientation for my son for college literally yesterday.
mm,
And in one of the sessions, they were talking about how important the skills base as these college students are coming up through their years. And it's anything that they can do to build those skills during. And I think that message goes all the way up, no matter where you are in your career right now.
in the old days, when you were writing your resume and you were told to talk about your activities and clubs, it was almost an aside and it wasn't really a serious suggestion. But now, when undergraduates are in clubs, they have corporate sponsorships, they have events, they have ticketing, they do marketing, they do communications, they have strategies. Put them down on your resume because it is real work and recruiters will see that. You got to understand it's real work. But if you understand it's real work, it matters and it really makes a difference. Those of us who understood the days when clubs and activities were like fluff don't necessarily understand that today's clubs and activities are quasi industry expertise.
Yeah, it does give them a lot of good transferable skills. They just have to understand.
Exactly.
I think that also can translate to those even in a job search, right? Unfortunately, with all the layoffs, I
Yeah.
always try to encourage my clients volunteer for a cause you care about, try to take on a
Yeah.
project, anything. You can put
Yes.
it on LinkedIn, but it's also helping to continue building your toolkit.
Yes. And that's a great point. We don't care that you didn't get paid to do that thing. We don't care that you were a volunteer. When we're hiring, we only care, what did you do? What did you accomplish? What are the results? Can you quantify what the results were? And what problems did you solve? It does not matter that experience came from volunteering. Like I said, that pandemic really taught us it doesn't matter whether you're paid or unpaid. Did you do that thing and were you successful? And can you talk about how you can use what you did there for me? If you can tell me how what you did translates to me as a potential hiring manager, I'm all ears and I don't care that you didn't get paid for it.
Great advice. Thank you. I know you described yourself as someone who's willing to take that role first and then figure it out after. So,
Yeah.
for someone who sees an opportunity but doesn't feel completely ready, how do they know when it's worth taking the leap?
Oh, I love that. Oh, you're going to feel it. You'll be excited. You'll be nervous. You'll know it's the right thing to do. You'll know that if you take it, it's a great move. So you'll when the opportunity is right. And if the only thing preventing you from going for it is you're feeling that I don't know enough to know the thing, consider who's presenting the opportunity to you. And this is really important. If a hiring manager whose own career depends on you being successful and I ask you to do this thing, don't you think I have already assessed whether or not you can do the new thing? And if I, whose career depends on you being successful, thinks you should do it, take it. Because not only am I invested in your success is my success. So I think if it's exciting, if it's something that, if you say to yourself, wow, if I could only do this, this would be great for my career. If those bells start ringing, that's the opportunity to take.
And I know you shared a couple of your own personal examples. It sounds like the Tesla one when you went from
Yeah.
compliance to HR. I don't know if there's any other ones in your personal world.
Every job. It's funny, I talk about it in my book. I have never been qualified, air quotes, for any job I've ever taken. Now think of that for a second. My first understanding of how that worked was when I was looking to get into marketing, and I applied for the director of marketing and communications for jazz at Lincoln Center. I had 2 things going for me. I love jazz, and I had a communications undergraduate degree. I did not know what a marketing concert strategy was, did not know what subscription season was, did not know what subscription sales were, did not know what butts in seats meant. Nothing, zero. But the way I talked myself into that role said, you're not going to find anybody who loves jazz music more than me. I have my communications background. I mentioned from my sorority days, the
Yeah.
marketing work that I did. And I talked myself into that role. My combination of passion for the music and the skills that I was able to pull from undergrad got me that role. So at every job I've ever had, I was not the best on paper qualified. But the other thing is I understood what the pain points were of the person who was looking to hire. And so for the marketing job, the audiences were shrinking at Jazz at Lincoln Center. Part of my pitch was you need to attract diverse audiences to expand your reach. That was my angle. A lot of people didn't take that angle, and that's one of the reasons why I got that job. When I was looking to move from KPMG to go to Ascendant, which now became Wyndham, I was going from a manager job to a VP role. And I applied for that VP role reporting to a CFO. And I could glean from the job description that they were looking for somebody who was process oriented because they were having process challenges. It didn't matter that I didn't know anything about the hospitality industry, hotel industry, nothing, but I could see it was a process issue, process challenge. And because I worked at KPMG, I'd sold process skills to other companies and helped with the marketing. So I knew how to speak to a CFO. So my resume spoke to the CFO challenges. That's how I got the interview. We didn't spend 1 minute talking about hotels and hospitality. We spoke all about process improvement and how the franchise compliance function could be better. I've never been qualified for the thing, and that never gave me any pause. If I wanted it, I went after it. If I knew I had the core competencies for the thing I was going after.
And it's funny, I always tell my clients when they're interviewing and we're preparing, look at that job description as the pain point. Why are you the best person? Help connect those stories to show that client, that
Exactly.
hiring manager why.
Someone needs something. And it's amazing, Meredith. I don't know why people don't pay more attention to this. The hiring manager took pains. You have to change your mindset from I need this role to you need me. I
Mhm.
can solve this problem for you. That's the way you got to approach that interview. You will get a call back if you approach interviews that way. You really
Yep.
will.
We do have to talk about AI because you talked about it before, and it is obviously such a big topic. So I do want to ask you, I know there's a lot of fear right now about AI replacing jobs and changing the workplace. And I know you just shared the initiative that your company is currently working on. I'm curious, when you're talking to professionals who are worried about staying relevant, what's the conversation you find yourself having most often?
You said it exactly right. That's the fear. The biggest thing I'm hearing is they feel like the die has already been cast. There's a sense that there's nothing that they can do, so they might as well just ride it out and not learn AI and just try to hang on to their job as long as they can because there's no point. That could not be a worse strategy in the age of AI because number one, AI cannot replace humans because people cost less than AI. At the end of the day, if you want to talk to people about their fear, you can't be replaced wholesale because you are less expensive than the tool. So you need to leverage that and understand, okay, if I truly can't be replaced career-wise, I'm not talking about intra-company because intra-company is different, but career-wise, if I can't be replaced, how do I ensure that I am the best, most highly skilled, most AI fluent person that on LinkedIn, on my resume, in interviewing, when they hire me, when they talk to me, when they screen me, when they recruit me, they know I'm an AI powered individual. That's what they have to do. That's critical right now. Critical.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. That could be a whole nother topic of
Yes.
discussion for
Yes.
another day. But last question, if someone finishes this episode feeling inspired about what we've talked about, but maybe still unsure of their next step, what's one action you would encourage them to take this week?
Dream. Sit down and give yourself an hour and get your matcha or your coffee or your iced tea or your mimosa and spend an hour and just say, if I had no constraints, if there were nothing holding me back, what would I do? And I need you to do this in two lanes. Do it career-wise and do entrepreneur because entrepreneurial is a big headache. And I am not encouraging people to quit their jobs and start a company. But I'm saying from a career perspective, if there were nothing to hold me back, what would I be doing? And just write that story down. You deserve to be able to dream even in the age of AI, but you have to give yourself space and time to do it.
Great advice. Valerie, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. I appreciate you sharing your perspective and your experience with us. And if people want to know more about your work, your book, or connect with you, what's the best way for them to find you?
For a couple of ways, and thank you so much, Meredith. This has been so cool. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, Valerie Capers Workman on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, Valerie Capers Workman there. And my book is available. It's called Quantum Progression, The Art and Science of Career Advancement in the Age of AI, the Quantum Leap edition, because it's a new edition, and that's available on Amazon. You can get it today.
Excellent. I'm excited to dig in more to the book. I did start it and I'm excited to continue. And I will include all of that contact information in the show notes. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you so much again.
Thank you. It's been so fun. Great talking to you, Meredith. Thank you.
I want to thank Valerie for joining me today. I really enjoyed this conversation because she challenges many of the assumptions people have about career growth. A couple of things that really stuck with me: her perspective that careers aren't ladders, that skills matter more than titles, and that sometimes the best career move isn't the one that looks the best on paper. I also loved her advice about looking at job descriptions through the lens of the hiring manager. Instead of focusing on why you want the job, focus on the problem they're trying to solve and how your experience can help solve it. And one of my biggest takeaways on AI was her reminder that waiting for it to happen to you is not a strategy. The professionals who will thrive are the ones who stay curious, keep learning, and find ways to combine their human strengths with new technology. If you'd like to connect with Valerie or learn more about her work, she is on LinkedIn and Instagram as Valerie Capers Workman, and her book Quantum Progression is available on Amazon, and I will include all of those links in the show notes. If today's conversation resonated with you, this is exactly the kind of work I do with my clients. I work primarily with mid-career professionals who feel successful on paper but are starting to question what's next, whether that's navigating a job search, pursuing a promotion, or simply getting clear on what they really want. You can learn more at yourcareerhappinesspc.com or connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the Career Intelligence podcast and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode. In the meantime, stay curious, keep learning, and keep building your career intelligence.
Forward.